Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Get to Know VO. We're so excited to have you here. We just let everyone kind of filter in. So many fabulous people here on this call, and we are so excited to share our content today. Um, so today we get to know VO in general. Hold on a second. Let me say, hi everybody. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. Um, and this is our free monthly webinar series called Get to Know VO. So each month we're here to share some aspect of VO that will help you deepen and or move forward in your voiceover career. So today's subject is funding your VO dream with one of our dojo members, Donna Jo Thorndale, who, in addition to being an amazing actress and voiceover artist and brilliant human being, also is a maestra of fundraising. So we're really excited to have her here, and I'll have her introduce herself a little bit in just a second. One of the things I want to lay out as we begin this journey of how do you fund your VO dream, a couple of mindset things. First of all, understanding that your VO dream is a business, assuming that you have intentions of making money off of that sounds it, making money with your voice, right? You will need to be running a business. I think that both on the as creatives and then as people who do business, like maybe you're coming to this from a corporate background or something, that you're coming to this from somewhere else. I think on both sides of that equation, or of both sides of that, there's some myth that business is not creative. As creatives, we think, as creatives, we think, oh, business isn't creative. And as business people, we think, oh, I just do business. I'm not creative, right? The truth is that business is one of the most creative one of the most powerful places that we implement and can joyously explore our creativity. So I'm super excited about today because what we're doing here today is thinking outside of the box. And Donna Jo's going to show us some frameworks, some structures, some ways to be thinking about this. And then each and every one of us can go out and then explore and create what we can from this. So just a little mindset framework as we begin. And we'll introduce Kelsey V, our dojo team here supporting us, facilitating. If you need anything, touch base with her in the chat. And we'd love to hear where you're calling from, where you're joining us from. I'll put that in the chat, and then we will be taking questions at the end of the journey here. We're planning to go till 12. Everything's recorded, so if you need to roll, if we need to roll, you can come back and listen to the recording. So I think that's all the housekeeping. Let's get to the party. Donna Jo, thank you so much for being here. Can you introduce yourself and or actually however you want to, if you want to roll right in, because I think you introduced yourself in the presentation. So
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. First of all, I'm Donna Jo. I also go by DJ. I absolutely love seeing that people are coming in from like frozen 15 degrees Texas and the Bahamas and North Carolina. I'm originally from Kentucky. Come on, South Florida. So got like, and Colorado, where I first learned to ski. I love Colorado. So just welcome everybody. I'm so glad you all are here. And I just want to, straight out of the gate, I just want to thank Tish for this opportunity to share with you all what I know. I know a little. I don't know everything, you know, the grant writing and raising funds is a bit like a huge ocean. And, you know, some people go in up to their ankles, some people go in up to their waist, some people surf, you know, the half pipe or whatever that is, or oh, that's, see, I shouldn't do like skateboarding and surfing analogy combo. I'm gonna get my wires crossed. But yeah, this is a big subject. And so today will be just, you know, I hope a healthy overview for you. I hope that our conversation today and what I share, I hope it will stir something within you to see possibilities that you didn't before, because I'm here to tell you, you're soaking in it. Like there's a ton of possibilities, even with our current changes that our country's experiencing with our new administration here, you know, in America. So yeah, why don't we just dive in? Is that all right, Tish?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen so we can get started here. So welcome everyone. This is how to fund your VO dreams. This is a grant conversation, or I like to say a little amuse-bouche of funding information. The amuse-bouche is a tiny little taste that a exquisite chef gives you to sort of wake your palate up, to open up your imagination, to sort of brighten you up. So I'm Donna Jo Thorndale. I'm an artist and a grant writer professionally. Started at 3 years old when my mom put finger paints in front of me, and I fell in love with the color blue, which you know, informs everything I do. I like to talk about the blue sky version, which is the ultimate dream, right? We want to open up here. What is your ultimate plan? If you're coming in from Colorado, your plan doesn't have to look like the artist coming in from the Bahamas. If you're coming in from Chicago, it doesn't have to look like the chick from Texas, right? However, your dream looks to you is valid and it's fundable. So keep that in mind. So I'm also an actress, voiceover artist, writer. So I'll get into that a little bit more in my, wait a second, why can't I, come on. Okay, there we go. So I like to talk in analogy, metaphor, and I often will quote lyrics to make my point, just letting you know that. And so for today, we're just stepping into this stream, right? As I said, the world of grants and grant writing and fundraising, it is like an ocean. It's a lot of little drops. And the way we're going to go through this, we're going to give you a broad overview, and at times we're going to get a little granular. But I just want you to remember, this world is literally just, think of it as like just drops of applications, little drops of funding streams. And when we put it all together, we're going to have something that you can really float on, that you could put your little canoe on and go sailing, or your yacht, whatever you've got, whatever projects you have, whatever goals and dreams you have. So what we want to do is we want to get our ideas flowing. If you want to pull up, you know, a document on your desktop and make notes for yourself, I always keep you know, a legal pad nearby. If you want to scratch out a few notes, anything that comes up, you know, feel free to do so, because we're really hoping that today gives you some robust information. Why do we keep, come on, there we go.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Did you miss the quotes slide? Did you skip that?
I don't know. Did it skip it for me?
I don't know. It's just such a great thing, and it ties everything together.
All
That
right,
beginning quote.
please bear with me for just a moment, friends. I don't know what my, having a little,
It's
just
okay.
a moment. Oh,
There.
here's my
That
quote slide. Now let's see if we can
yeah.
play from here. Okay, here we go. I think I've got it now. So yes, these are quotes that I live by. Great grant writing is simply great storytelling. I said that. Also, grant writing is a game. We're going to learn the rules and then we're going to play the game. Okay? Because everyone can play it. And everyone, you know, kind of has an equal shot at it. And then also my last quote is, you can't always get what you want, but if you try some time, you just might find you get what you need. I'm a big Rolling Stones fan, so you might see some Stones quotes. So yeah, I cited my quotations there at the bottom. Let's see if I can move forward. Okay, now here we go. So me, analogy, metaphor, lyrics. I'm a wordsmith, and great grant writing is really great storytelling, right? So as is, I think, great voiceover artists, we're telling a story with our emotion, with how we color things, with how we see things. And there are always going to be clients that need your perspective and the way your voice operates. So here's my disclaimers. I'm sharing from my own experience today. The world of fundraising and grant writing, it can seem mysterious or what have you. You know, let's take the curtain down. I want you to know there's a lot of magic here, but there's no magic bullet and there's no one way to play this game. So just know that however you intersect with this, we're going to make some gold out of it. I want to just mention that yes, the funding climate is shifting. Especially if you're looking at nonprofit or free money, if you will. And that impact is still a little ways out. You know, right now there's a lot of bluster. There's a lot of we're stopping all funding. Okay, now we're not. You know, so we're going through a shift, but I don't want any of us to lose heart. I've been in the game of nonprofits for a long time, and nonprofits and grant money flows during Republican administrations and Democratic, administrations. So while there is some activity happening in the air, I don't want us to really focus on or get downhearted about that, even though there are extreme changes that have happened with DEI, and that's a problem, but we have solutions. So today I'm just speaking from my opinion only. I want you to take what serves you. I want you to know this is a numbers game and there's no guarantees. But I think it's the basketball player Michael Jordan who said, you know, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So there's no guarantee, but it's a numbers game. And the more we put out, the more we're going to get back toward us. I want you to remember you're going to succeed at this. This is, in a weird way, it's a no-brainer. And who you are, what you do, and how you do it, I want you to know you legitimize a funder. So let's say, for example, you know, I have $1 million to give out to artists. I can't be legitimate in my mission as a funder if I don't have artists that I can fund. So I need to give my money away, and I need to give it to artists who do A, B, C, D, and E so that my mission can be fulfilled. So just know you being you legitimizes those funders. So they do need you, and know that you're fundable no matter where you're at in your process, in your journey, whether you're just starting out and you're here wanting to know, hey, maybe I could, you know, people have told me I should do voiceover. What's this about? Or you might be a seasoned pro. So wherever you're at, you're in a good spot. Okay, here's who I am, Donna Jo Thorndale. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Leo rising sign. So it means I come with a lot of pragmatic, feet on the ground, grounded energy. And also I'm an artist and I get that showmanship, showpersonship aspect. So that's my personality. I did get out. I'm born and bred in Lexington, Kentucky, and it's the dirty South. So I'm so glad. I love the South, and I'm really glad to be living in California. Yeah, I like to say Kentucky's where the bourbon is strong, the horses are pretty, and the women are fast. Silly joke, but it's a good one. I've been in LA since '98, and I'm a massive Stones fan. Yes, I'm a capital C creative. As I said, I'm a watercolorist. I got my start in nonprofit in radio, music, food, humor, acting, and service have always been a big part of my life. So as a music fan, I ended up starting a radio station with a lot of other people in 1988. I'm a writer, I'm a voiceover artist, actress, and I'm a storyteller above all. So yes, 30 years I have in nonprofits, from theater companies to social justice nonprofits. I now work for a group called Jail Guitar Doors, and we take music programs into prisons. So I taught for 12 years with a group called the Actors Gang here in California. I taught the Commedia dell'arte theater style. And then I was on the air for 5 years and helped run a radio station. So I have experience from management to administration, all those other things. And all that I've done is woven into my work. So that's why I want everyone on this call today to know wherever you're at in your process, you've got everything you already need is already embedded inside you. You might not know it yet. We're going to be like Egyptologists, and we're going to go and excavate this stuff. And we're going to find all those beautiful jewels that are so rare and precious and unique to you. And we're going to fund it on the basis of that. So yeah, my mantra is, if you've got it, share it. There's no gatekeeping here. And again, Van Morrison has this wonderful song, no guru, no method, no teacher. This is just the way I do it. Now, there are rules to the game, so those don't bend, but just know if you're the kind of individual that might feel like, well, I do things differently. I have my own flair, or I'm not like, I'm not like them. I'm doing it differently. It's okay. You're going to be all right here. Oh yeah, here's my humble brag. So I've raised $4 million in the last 4 years. So I just want you all to know it can be done. And whatever you're looking to fund, you might not even have any ideas today about what you're looking to fund, but we'll talk about that. So here are the 5 areas that we're going to look at today. We're going to talk about who the funders are, how this game is played. We're going to define what your funding goals are, if you care to. We're going to dig a little bit into who you are, if you care to. And then we're going to make a little next steps plan. Okay? And if you have any questions, jot them down, keep them, hold them, put them in the chat, whatever. We'll get to it. Okay? So let's get into who are the funders. So we want to shake these trees. We want to make it rain. We want to find out how we can get funded. But remember, there's no free lunch. Even when they say it's a free lunch, there's always some reporting or some strings attached. But the funders exist on these levels. We have people in the city you live in that will fund projects, in the county you live in. So for example, I'm in Los Angeles, but the county of Los Angeles is way larger. So I look at city opportunities, also the county I'm in. I look at state opportunities, and then there are federal opportunities, which are nationwide. And some people, if you're out of the country, you may have slightly different funding opportunities there. Some countries have larger and subsidized funds for artists. So I'm exclusively pretty much talking about America here. This is where I've done all of my grant writing work and my success has been in America, but we can certainly talk about options in other countries. Also, there are corporations that will fund. There are other nonprofit partners. So someone may get a large grant, but they need a few partners in on it. So they might be producing a short film and they need a voiceover artist. So you may be included in someone else's project as a partnership. And then there are these sort of niche funders. So think charities, think universities or higher education opportunities, think civic groups. Often churches will have funds or discretionary funds that they can share. So those are the different sort of lanes, if you want to think about it like that funders exist in. Let's talk about how the game is played. 6s and 7s and 9s. Rolling Stones, Tumbling Dice, great song. So the way this game is played, it begins with the application. Well, prior to the application, they will send out something, which is the announcement of, here's the application, here's the grant we're giving out money for. Some people, sometimes they call it an RFP. Sometimes they call it a solicitation for applications, an SOA. So there are a number of things that call can be called. And then within it is the actual application. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the application and we're going to remember, once we get an application done, we're just going to rinse and repeat. We're going to go on to the next one. Sometimes when you do your first application, there was a group here in town that I did 7 applications for them because it was $1 million grant. And the first 2 to 3 years, you have to just get on their radar. They're not going to fund you in the first 2 to 3 years. Now, many people would say, well, if they're not going to fund me, why would I waste my time doing that? Getting on their radar is key. So I want you to think about funding in the short term and also playing the long game. Because since a grant is not a guarantee, we want to, it's a bit like being at the discotheque. There's a lot of people on the dance floor. We want to find our way on the dance floor, and then we'll find our partners that we're going to dance to and dance with, and when the song changes, we'll find a different partner perhaps. But there might be that one good groove that you always go back to because you and this other person always, dance well, play well together, right? So we want to get on radars, especially with a larger organization like the California Arts Council. They do individual artist grants. You might need to be on their radar for a cycle or 2 to get funded. So remember, rinse and repeat. Then they will send out an award announcement. After you've done your application closes. In the grant profile, they will always tell you the application ends on the 15th of March. We will notify people by the 15th of April who will be awarded. So all of that will be in that initial announcement and call for the application. Everything you need to know will be in there, from how much money they're releasing to what the intent of the grant is, to how much reporting you have to do back. So getting the dollars, we want to get that grant. So once you get the grant, we then want to make sure that we're being very responsible to those dollars. Some grants, which I failed to put on here, but I'll just mention, some grants may give you $20,000 to fund X, Y, and Z that you articulated in your application. Out of the gate, they're going to let you know, we're going to send you 10,000 of it up front. And 3 months into your process, we'll send you another fourth. And then when you wrap your project, we'll send you the final fourth. Many grants will just give you the full amount out front. Or there may be a situation where you apply for a matching grant. And that looks like this. You're trying to fund a $40,000 project. You piece together 4 smaller grants that each give you a little chunk. And then you go for the $20,000 grant to say, I have $20,000 of committed money for this $40,000 project. Now I'm applying for your 20K. And then they see in good faith, you've got the match, or you can get the match. You have the ability to get it. So then they may fund half of your project. But again, that's 20K that you wouldn't have to go drum up somewhere else. So that's very valuable. Once you get the grant, we want to find some way to track the expenses. Almost all of these grants will ask for a budget for what you need the money for. If you're, let's just say, for example, you're outfitting a home studio, you're going to need to do the real world research of saying, well, this is the microphone I want, and I can get it for this amount. I need this kind of, setup to support the microphone. I'm going to need, all of the surrounding baffling for my space, or, I'm buying a mobile booth because I travel. So I need this mobile ISO Vox booth to take with me because I'm a nomadic liver. So that's another thing we want to be aware of, because we're going to have to track, okay, you gave me the 20 grand, now here's how I spent it. And on some places, which this ties into the reporting, some grants will ask you, okay, we want the receipts, we want to see photos of the booth that you outfitted. They might want a deeper bit of reporting on the 20 grand they funded you. Or they may simply say, here's the 20 grand out front, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, go with God, go do your thing, good luck. Or they may say, write us a review at the end of your cycle, 6 months from now. Write us a 1-page document that tells us how you spent the money. So you may not have to give any receipts at all. What I would say is this: when you get the initial call for the grant and you read through it, take a look at how lengthy the reporting is, because sometimes there may be some grants that would offer you 20K to do a project, and the reporting is so laborious and feels like such a heavy lift that you may decide, you know what, they're a little high maintenance on that end. I'd rather just have some place that would give me 20 grand for fun and for free. And I write, a synopsis at the end of, when I get my space built out, I send them photographs, and I write, or I do a small video for them saying, here I am in my space. Thanks for making it happen, California Arts Council. And then they may take that clip and use it on their website. So just know that all of that will be told to you up front, so you'll know what you have to do in order to answer for the money that you got, okay? And always remember this: we want to stay classy, right? Stay classy, Colorado, stay classy, North Carolina, stay classy, Oregon and New York and Texas, right? We want to stay classy, San Diego. So we want to make sure that we're being very gracious. When you get the grant, we don't show up with a handful of gimme and a mouthful of much obliged, right? That's rude. So when we get the grant, we make sure we acknowledge it. They will give you logos that you can announce it on your Instagram. Hey, I got the grant. Now I'm able to, finish building out my studio, or whatever it is that you might be doing. I'm just using that as my example. So we want to make sure any of our grants, or I say donor relations, but those would be grant relations. But if it, if your synagogue gives you 5K, if, some local community center has $4,000 of discretionary income and they choose to give you 2,000 of it, right? There's a friend of ours here in the VO Dojo that paid for his entire training program. I believe he's located in New York. Is that right, Tish? Yeah. Yeah, he's located in New York, and he got a grant that paid for his experience here, his training program here. So you'll find that, in my experience, California and New York both have very generous funding platforms for artists, but that's not to say that's not true for other places around this country as well. So we just want to make sure we're being very gracious and thanking, and often they want a shout out on social media. So we'll make sure that, we get all of those ducks in a row. We'll make sure anytime we post, we're tagging the people that funded us. That's just good, healthy relations. So let's define your VO funding goals. Articulation is everything. Let's say I have $1 million and I'm taking applications for $20,000 grants that I'm giving out. I really need you to tell me, why should I fund you, right? I need to know that I'm funding the people that align with my mission. So if you find the right funder, and the right funder's out there for everything is fundable. I want you to know that. So these are just a couple of buckets, if you will, or lanes that those of us in the VO world, when we think about funding our goals and dreams, there's many others, but these are some I've identified. So are you funding a studio? Are you establishing a home setup? Are you upgrading to new technology? Sorry, let me just get something out of the way there. Are you looking to train and to advance? Is there a program that you're looking to be a part of? Are you trying to advance, your mission? Is there something that you want to launch straight out of the gate, or have you been away from VO and you're getting back into the game? So take a look at what training modules you may need. And then content. Are you voicing a specific project? Are you doing a project with a friend? Are you all creating an anime series? And you need to bring it, you need to fund it, and you need to pay for your voiceover time, as well as 2 other artists that you've hired to voice something. So be really clear about what you're funding. And then we want to get clear also on our own personal why of why we're doing this. There is something to be said for every voice that's in the room has a place at the table. And when we're really clear about what drives us and why we want to work in this way, that articulation will simply attract the dollars that are right for it. Because especially in our shifting climate, I think there will be corporations, civic groups, and nonprofits that have endowments, for example. They don't have to worry about their money going away. It's not a federally funded project that someone can take the money, or turn the tap off and stop the dollars from flowing. I think those sites we're going to see are really going to step up into helping sort of right the ship a little bit, especially when it comes to the DEI information. So now we're going to get into our first keyword exercise, which is in 2 parts. And this is going to help us to define who you are and why you're fundable. So Kelsey, we're going to do a 1-minute meditation. If you wouldn't mind to share the music. Feel free to keep your camera on or turn it off, whatever you wish to do. You can close your eyes if you want. You can place one hand on your heart, another on your belly. You can just let your hands rest on your lap up if you need to receive a little more. If you feel like you want to ground, you can turn your hands down onto your lap, or one up, one down. We're going to take 1 minute and we're going to just have a quick meditation. Are you able to do the music, Kelsey?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready, please. Yeah, if you'd begin. And I'll start a timer. Are we hearing the music, or? You are hearing the music. Okay, I am not. So that's okay though. Thank you for the thumbs up. So if you want to float your eyes closed, you certainly can. And right, just take a deep breath. And know that this is a really safe space. You, as you arrive right now in this chair today, are completely whole for this exercise. So I invite you to think about what makes you, you. I want you to think in terms of your own values, your own personality quirks and traits. I like to say I'm a recovering cheerleader because it's true. So think about your mind's eye. Think about all the things that make you awesome and that make you unusual. You can think in terms of what motivates you. What feels honest? And what feels powerful about who you are? All right, let's take one deep breath and sigh it out. And when you're ready, you can float your eyes open. And I would invite you to either jot down next to you. This is part one of this defining exercise. And thank you, Kelsey, for the musical support. So we're going to make a list now of some of those things that might have come up for you. So I'm going to set us another quick 1 minute. So either open a doc on your tablet or laptop, or scratch a little something on a piece of paper, make a little laundry list of what makes you, you. And we'll take just 1 minute to do this. Try to get at least 5 words. If you can get more of that, that's extra credit. All right, let's write just for a moment. Here we go. "15 seconds. All right, last second, write one more good descriptor. Maybe it's something one of your grandparents or a best friend would say is fun about you, or is cool about you, or is defining. All right. So the idea here is we're going to have to describe ourselves when we apply for a grant, and we're going to describe our project, what we want to fund, but they want to know who you are and what you're about. So being able to articulate that is really, really funny. And if anyone wants to share later maybe what some of their descriptors are, we're here for it. But we're going to move on to the part 2 of this right now, which is another excavation of who you are. What communities set you apart? What communities are you a part of, perhaps, that might define you a little bit? Or how do you identify? You can think in terms of your ethnicity and your cultural heritage. There will be funds specifically set aside to elevate different ethnic and cultural voices. There will be funds specifically targeting people whose voices have been left out of the conversation. So if you are someone that is, Italian and Dominican, we want to know, like, when a call comes out for an authentic sounding voice that also has a lot of reach, a lot of like depth and flavor and richness, well, that can apply to a lot of different voices. But when there's something that has, or especially there's someone here, from the Bahamas, if you're native to the Bahamas, you may have, a beautiful accent that we want to highlight. So think in terms of what makes you unique. Are you a member of any minority group at all? In this thought, highlight what makes you special, because we want to know why elevating your voice is the right thing to do, right? So think about those, sometimes we can be lost to ourselves and we just think, well, I'm just a person who has fun doing voiceover. There will be unique things to each of us that we can highlight to make fundable. Also, if there's any sort of, I like to say a spotlight group, what else sort of determines who you are? Like, I'm an avid dog lover and world traveler, so I'm gonna bring that in. I also have a little tick of ADHD, so it makes me saucy and spicy, and it makes me, can make me very spontaneous and very creative. So if you're neurodiverse, don't shy away from that, right? And who are you in real life? Like, are you a real life lumberjack? If you are, play into that. Like, all of these things are like a rich soup that we can pull from. And then, is there any subculture that you belong to that might be a part of your identity? Make a note of that, because there will be grants that are available for people who are neurodiverse. I'm starting to do a whole grant search right now for female entrepreneurs, because I'm getting ready to launch, into my own outside business. So there are grants for every strand of human being and every identity and every ethnic and cultural minority, all of it. We can fund all of it. So now let's think about putting all of that together. So we can form up a 30-second, a 45-second pitch that tells people who we are. We're just going to go over this aspect of it today. This is a longer exercise, but I wanted to give you a little taste of this. So think about defining what phase of your career you're in. Like, on my list of the things that I use to describe myself, along with recovering cheerleader, I put emerging VO artist, because that's where I'm at this phase of my career. If you're just beginning, what we don't want to do is talk about ourselves in a way that isn't authentic or true. I don't like to spend a lot of time focusing on what we don't want to do. I want to focus on what we do want to do. We want to be really honest. If I'm beginning, then I let people know I'm beginning, right? Am I mid-career? Am I a pro? Have I been at this for forever? Or am I in the second act of my life and I've spent 20 years in corporate and now I really want to voice children's books, right? You could be reinventing yourself at this point, and VO is such a great way to do this, because it really is, our authenticity can just pour out, and there may be aspects of ourselves that other people have never known or seen. Surprise, surprise, we get to do it now. So, yeah, think about the fact, like, some of us were born kind of behind the mic. I'm sure there are people in this room that, kind of, held their family hostage while they were like, I'm going to do a performance. And then the 5-year-old comes down in the cape or whatever. So if you're a natural born, artist, speak upon that. So I just want you to remember who you are and how you pitch yourself completes the missions of the people that are giving you your dollars. And now for part 2 of this, think about what you're seeking to fund that is specific. No one just gives you $200,000 and then you're going to tell me later what the project is. I need to know upfront that you're developing this anime project, and I need to see that you've got it all formed out so that I can trust that giving you the money will help you complete that goal. And we want to be very specific about how this completes our mission. So this is an aspect where you want to be able to talk about yourself in this process as specifically as you can, and what you can do, what impact you can have with the money that's given you. That's a great way to talk about, how this funding, in a weird way, there is that sort of spiritual thought of, like, if you provide something for someone, like the whole, if I give you a fish, I'm feeding you for a day. If I teach you how to fish, you're able to be self-sufficient, and then you can teach others. With this funding for your content that you're creating, how is this going to help you to impact someone else? You know, it could be that, I don't know about any of you all, but I know there are certain television shows, anime shows, there's music, there's projects that have absolutely saved my life and made me feel seen, given me a place for safety. You may create something that is funded that is going to have such a positive impact on a specific community or on the entire world, right? Who knows what you'll do? So how is this funder helping you to be able to help others? If you may not be required in every grant application to state that, but it's darn good to know it and to be honest about it in your heart. If you're like, well, I don't really want to impact anyone else, I just want to have a, you know, a kick in home studio, that's fine too. But it's been my journey that most people do want to help others, right? But we want to make sure we can help ourselves so we can help others. So we want to make sure you get the grant funding so you can fund what you want to fund. But no one, let me phrase that differently. Very rarely will someone want to fund someone that is, you know, just completely self-centered. We want to empower people with grant funding to be able to make an impact. Yeah, that's what I call the daisy chain of, like, you know, for me, in my life as an artist, I see like a wheel that has one hand reaching up and another hand reaching down, and I'm in the center of that wheel. So I'm here to give a hand to others and pull them up. And then tomorrow I'll look up and you'll be on that upper level, and I'm going to be reaching up to you and you'll pull me up. And if we keep doing this kind of activity, we all rise with the tide, right? So I call that the daisy chain. So now we want to think about this. So that keyword exercise and those community identifiers. And then when we blend that with the actual details of where you're at in your career path, with what your motivations are, what your mission is as an artist and as a voiceover artist, all of this, we will put that together. So the what you're funding, the why you're funding it, will build that into your pitch. So the next steps in this process would be for you to build a mission statement, build a pitch for funding, even if it's really, really simple. It can start very simply. Even if you have one or two clear sentences, that's enough. And then locating your funders that are in your area. And we saw there's city, there's county, there's state funding, there's national funding. Then there are people that, you know, just that are not a part of any of that sort of government or county level or city level funding, that are your corporations and your private other nonprofits and your private institutions, higher education facilities, civic groups that can fund you. So then you'll locate those people. And then what we call that is a grant pipeline. So we build out, if you will, we make a plan and we come up with 10 organizations that could fund you. And we may find 2 of them would be good for funding technical updates. So, you know, I've got a home studio established, but it's 15 years old. Things don't really work. I need to upgrade some stuff, right? We can find a technology grant that will support that. Or we can find a project-based grant that will support this new web series idea I have that I want to play with. So that grant pipeline, you can think of it like, you know, if you make you hear about these like travel bucket lists of like, well, here's all the places in the world I want to go, right? Our grant pipeline gives us all of these different opportunities, and then we cross-reference that with what we're doing and when we're doing it and how we're going to stay funded, okay? And the more, really, I think the most important thing is for us to focus on the first grant. Get that first grant, because then in the second application and the third and the fourth and the 10th and the 20th, when you talk about yourself, you can honestly say, I received an individual artist grant in 2025 from the California Arts Council to complete my anime series, you know, that addresses gender fluidity in America. I'm just picked a subject that something I would like to see funded, right? So know that getting the first grant, it's that first little anchor that's going to serve as the magnet that's going to keep attracting other grants to your door. Okay, great. So I want to help you guys make this real. So let's fund your VO dreams. I have a once a quarter workshop that I do that's get funded, and it's really grants to fund artistic goals. You can also think of artists in that category as well. The next one is on, March 1st, which is a Saturday. I was just checking my calendar. It's from 12 to 2 on Zoom. I would love to have you all there. And I worked it out with Tish that we can do a substantial discount for anyone in the VO family here with the VO Dojo. So it's a $99 workshop that I would like to offer to you all for $49. I have my email. If you'd like to shoot me an email, we can talk further about it. Or if you have any other questions about this to see, like, would this workshop be right for you? It's 2 hours and it gives you all the templates to break down all of that process that I just described. My email is tinysmilecreative@gmail.com. That's also my Instagram handle. If you'd like to follow me there, I'll follow you back. So Tiny Smile Creative is my Instagram. That's my business. And tinysmilecreative@gmail.com is where you can get in touch with me. And I would love to have you there. If you feel like you want the information, but you're not sure if you can do that date or what have you, it's recorded on Zoom, and I'll send that out with all the PDFs and worksheets afterwards. And then I do one-on-one coaching and other things for creatives. So I'd love to support you. I hope that I can. And I can always drop my email in the chat or whatever. Let me see, I know it's time to move on. Oh, I want to say this to you all. Know that there are a lot of funding streams out there. There really is a world of options. There's a number of ways you can get things funded. There are scholarships that are offered. You might find partnerships with someone else or a sponsor. Wouldn't we all love to have a benefactor? But there are sponsorships out there for people who are looking to fund their dreams. There's also the idea of crowdsourcing and GoFundMe's. Those are other ways to fund ourselves. But one of the things that I do like about grant funding is that it opens you up to a whole, it's like going into a secret library. And most of the money, I do jokingly say that there's no free lunch because we have to report back on it. That's true. But it's a bit like tapping a vein of gold. Once you know how to play the game and talk about yourself and your projects and build realistic budgets that are fully burdened, right? So if you're working from home, one of the things that you might have to fund, you might need some help funding, not just the build out of your VO space, but if you work from home, then that's a part of your legitimate business. Or if you have not like a WeWork space, but let's say you rent an office somewhere, that's a part, everything in your life that supports that VO can, in a small way, usually it's 10%, but that can be built into your overall budget. And when they see that, they see this person's really smart, because they're not just saying, give me the money to buy the microphone and I'm done. It shows that you're looking at it in a fully burdened way. So you're being completely responsible to the whole ecosystem of what it is that supports your VO journey. You may need to have additional demos cut. Especially like, let's say you're successful in commercials, but now you're going into audiobooks or animation. We're going to need different demos. So you might need to or you may have an old demo and now you need to cut a new one, right? So I just want you to know that we're going to think in ways that fully burden the situation. So even if you think you need 15K to fund something, we're going to see, no, actually you need to apply for the full 20K because you were leaving $5,000 on the table that they're happy to fund, but they can't fund it if we don't articulate it. Okay. So yes, this is what I want you to remember. You are 100% fundable. You legitimize the funders. They need you. And also, sometimes you just might find you get what you need. So if you haven't listened to the Rolling Stones lately, please do so. There's my citations at the bottom. So yes, so I think that is the last slide. It is. So I'm going to stop my screen share.
Ooh, so much goodness, Donna Jo. I
I
would
know
love
I talked a lot at everybody, so I hope
No,
that's
no, no, you didn't talk at us. You shared with us and opened our minds. We do have lots of time for questions and I think maybe even further exploration. I wonder, Donna Jo, would it be before we get into the specific questions, would it be helpful to like or let's say I would be interested to hear what people came up with
yeah.
and maybe we can say, oh, well, like there's something maybe we can do like sh have everybody share what you came up with so we get that energy in the room and then Joe could say, oh my God, you love Appaloosa horses. There's actually you know
Right.
like we can get a little sense of that because we have a little bit of time to explore. But that would be great to hear what you guys came up with in your meditation. And also noting that was 1 minute, babies. We meditated for 2 minutes. Like what happens if you sit down for an hour or an afternoon and
Well, when I
what's
do the
awesome.
when I do the course, I open it up a little more. It's not, I mean, today again, this is just a little amuse bouche. This
No,
is
but
just a little
that's what
take.
I'm saying. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so who would like to share? Who would like to share? Christina, what did you come up with?
First, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I was eating my lunch, which is why I had turned everything off. And I'm just like, oh my God, wait, I gotta type that down. It was just so
Oh,
beautiful. So thank you so much for being here. Um,
thank
so
you.
we're sharing a little bit about what we wrote down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Share your
what did
keywords.
you write down? Mhm.
So something that makes me special is I have traveled a lot. I've lived in China for 4 years through COVID. Um, I lived in South Korea for 3 years, Czech Republic for 6 months, and then I've been to about 25 countries besides that. Um, multilingual. And when I was young, I hated my voice. My younger sister said I sounded like a grandma who smoked a lot. And so the first time I sat in a booth and I recorded something just for fun, and the director looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I love your voice." I was like, "What?" And he played it back and I listened to it and I went like, I got the chills at that. Oh man, I sound gorgeous. It's like
Mhm.
having your picture taken for the first time and realizing you're pretty, you know? You just needed the right photographer, you needed the right director. So that's something that makes me special. Um, I'm small town raised, small town Ohio, 3,000 people. I'm neurospicy and I'm unmedicated and proud of it. And I'm an entrepreneur. My parents opened a small hotel when I was 11 and they had me behind the front desk by the time I was 14 because I was desperate to meet new people who are traveling. And so I've been a part of the hospitality industry since I was young. In the phase of my career, I'm a new voice. I've been doing this for about 2 years. I now have just started breaking off professionally and seeing a return in my investments. I lean heavily into animation, or not animation, sorry, audiobooks. Um, I graduated with the Penguin Random House mentorship program last year and immediately just started writing to all these different publishers like, hey, you want me, and here's why. And I've actually been getting work from that. Um, and I'm looking to fund. So I live in Cincinnati, and there's a huge,
Come on.
yeah,
That, that's my old stomping block. I'm from Lexington. I went to every punk rock club
I'm
straight.
looking to move to Covington, actually. I want to move to the other side of the river. It's expensive here.
We've got to talk offline, Christina.
Oh my gosh, I'll shoot you an
So
email. I would love to
tell us
catch
what
up.
you want to fund. What are you funding?
So I would like to get a house in Covington, across the river because there's a huge acting community here, but there's not really anything for VO. And the amount of times I get stopped in the street, well, not something on the street, but like when I'm talking to someone and I mentioned voiceover, they're like, "Oh my God, I've always wanted to do that. How do you do it?" And I'm like, "Okay, This is getting exhausting. I would rather have a house with a full studio where those who want to do this can actually come in and sit in a studio and do a little bit of workshopping and actually do like intro. You want to do this? Let's do improv games because it would be in person. So we would do improv games in the class. They would get to record a little bit and hear themselves. They would learn how to self-direct and they would direct each other and learn how to be both politely critical, but also very encouraging. And creating a safe space to explore this avenue that they can use either as a full-time creative or a part-time creative, just a way to explore that. So that's what I want to do. I want to create a safe community for those who are looking to get interested, get started, who don't know how to get started, and they'd rather meet in person.
It's what you're going to do, and that's going to get funded. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And I have to tell you, I immediately wrote down Lonely Planet as soon as you started sharing. I mean, as someone that's like small town, born and raised, and graduated to being a world traveler, I would listen to any travel log, audio guide. Like, I wish you were here in LA. Rick Steves is coming to a church here on the 23rd if you want to come out to LA.
Hey, nothing is beyond consideration.
Yeah, so
I'm going to like 3 different conferences this year. Can I afford it? No. Am I going to see return from it? Absolutely. It's a write-off.
but-
Everyone remember that. It's a write-off.
I'm going to invite you. I'm going to invite you not to ever again speak the phrase overview. I can't afford it. You are absolutely to say, I need to find out how to fund this.
I like that.
But I don't want you to speak that over yourself again. Okay. I rebuke that seriously because it's all possible. Your ideas are great. You are such a delight. I want to hear from everybody on this call today. I have to say, I'm so selfish that way. But that's just wonderful. Tish, I don't mean to be talking so much.
No, it's
jump in.
it's great. That was a great. Thank you, Christina, for being so specific.
Sure.
There's also, you have Christina with a Y. There's a reason for that, right? So there's a heritage background of that. Yes, this is great. I know it's the top of the hour, so some of us might not have been planning to stay for 2 hours, but if you need to roll, we'll be sending out the replay in a couple of days. Email Donna Jo if you're interested in more information about the workshop, and then talk with her, and then hop on my calendar for a voiceover once over. I'd love to hear where you are so we can get and where you want to be and see how we can help you, and then we just create this little daisy chain of, oh, well, you're working on something. So, yeah, so, Kelsey can put that into the chat. And Kelsey, can you also share about one more offer that we have coming up? And then we'll maybe take one more person and then get to everyone's great questions, because everyone's asking really, really good questions. Yeah, but Kelsey, can you share the Fight Club packet that we're offering?
Yes. So right now we have a 3-pack player bundle for our Pro Fight Club. I'm posting everything in the chat right now. Oh, if it'll let me. It is basically 3 fight clubs for only $297. So you're saving a big amount. Basically, our Pro Fight Club is a workout and a workshop where you get in front of decision makers and you basically see exactly how they work. Like it's crazy. Sometimes you get in with directors and you're like, oh, that's how you do it. Like it's so specific to every single director. And my favorite part about Fight Club is that they tell you why or why not you would be cast, and they do not go, you do not spend $300 and then they go, that was great. And then you're like, wait, what? I just sat on this call for 4 hours. What? What do you mean that was great? So I have dropped that in the chat down below. We've had Ned Lott, who's worked with Studio Ghibli, Disney, and Pixar. We've had Jared Cohen, who's a senior producer for NBC. We just had Chris Borders, who it would be easier to name the video games he hasn't directed or cast on. He's done Mass Effect, Dragon's Age. I mean, it's crazy. And we do lots of anime as well. So if you're an anime person, come on over. We have promo with Jody Gottlieb coming up. She's been at CBS for a very, very long time, and she's lovely.
And Fight Club is a working pro workout. So demo repped and booking is a criteria to be a player. If you're not on a roster, fill out the application and grab the bundle. And if you're not quite at demo repped and booking, everyone can be a spectator. So you can buy a spectator spot as well. So that's stuff that's going on. And then yeah, so that just wanted to share that before everyone had, if people had needed to leave. So just know that we're leaving this call and we're happy and excited to talk with each and every one of you to be here to further your careers. So
yes,
yeah.
also if you could turn your camera on if you want to be in a little picture, we can get that going for our replay friends.
How did we get everybody to be camera ready at the same time? I just don't.
We're magic.
I just saw some beautiful lady do the. I just love it. Jamie Lee, come on now.
Ready? 3,
Ramel,
2,
oh my God.
1.
Money.
Stage 1, 3, 2, 1.
Free money.
Yeah, smile at free money.
I love it. Well, I know there's 5 people with their hands raised, and Cassandra, I saw that you said you could stay for a while. Tish, I'd love to talk. I mean, I follow your lead. I'd love to hear from Perdon, and if we can get to Maria and Kevin and Rob and Cassandra. I mean, or
Well,
you
I
guys
think,
can
yeah,
talk to me offline, or
why don't well, we've got until 12. So
okay.
and there's also some great questions and I want to, I think questions are great because they open up different aspects that are on people's minds. So why don't we take a couple more, like another few minutes
Yeah.
of hearing where people are and what your response is.
Well, can we could we do this? Could we give the people that have their hands raised, could we give everybody like 2 minutes, like speed round, tell us who you are? I hate to rush people, but everyone is so unique and I want to hear from as many people as we can, and then we can launch into questions. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, and maybe even 1 minute. How about that?
All right,
Like
1 minute.
yeah.
And Kelsey, if you'll do us a running order and put it in the chat, we could start with Perdon if that's okay. And then there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 other hands. Would that be all right?
I think it would let's leave at least half hour for questions and wrap up.
Okay,
So
well, we'll definitely do that. So, Perdon, take it away, if you will, please. Hello.
Okay, can everybody hear me clearly?
Of course we can.
Okay,
So
good.
hot seat.
Okay,
Give us
so
your 1 minute who you
all
are and
right,
what
like
you're funding.
all right, lightning round. Okay, so as I've said, I've born and raised Bahamas, lived in the capital, Nassau, for all my life. I've done a little bit of traveling here and there to the States. Went to China for robotics competitions in my life, and from very, very young, literally about like high school, maybe like grade 7, my deep voice set in like from way early then. So a lot of people have always said from like younger, at least not here, but that was around the time when I started to get online and everything kind of boomed, and a lot of people started to hear my voice for the first time. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you have such a wonderful voice for voiceover or like voice acting. You should definitely look into something like that." I didn't know voice acting or voiceover was a thing at the time. I was very, very young. Um, and I started to look into it as I got older, and especially around the time the pandemic came in. Everybody moved over to online work. So I started to look into that. And the way I started to kind of get my foothold into it is streaming. I did a bit of streaming on the side there, and that's why I got an audience that are kind of coming in. Didn't really build much of a big audience on it, but a lot of people came in and was like, "Oh my gosh, this man has a wonderful voice." Every time I play games, it's like, and they're literally, what's the new game that came out, Marvel Rivals? Because I'm an avid gamer. That's something I love. People would come into my lobby, and I'd be like, "Okay, guys, hope everybody's doing well." And everybody's like, "We're gonna win just because this man has a wonderful voice in our team." I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. So,
So what do you
and
want to
yes.
fund?
Right now, I am trying to fund travel expenses and also VA training. Because over here, there's not really much of a thing to kind of do VA work here in the Bahamas. A lot of stuff is a lot towards tourism. Tourism is our main thing. A lot of people come here to visit and stuff like
Sure.
that. So if you're building a hotel, people will come in. If you're building maybe like a whole a hostel or something, people will fund that. If I come in and say, "Oh, I want to do voiceover work," they're gonna be like, maybe we'll come back to you," and then never come back to you. So that's what I'm trying to really fund. Maybe travel to the US and look into something like vocal training. Also finish
You
building out
can
my
work with
studio.
that.
hmm
Yeah, you can totally work with that. That's good
Yes,
stuff.
yes, and especially now, as of right now, I do a lot of caretaking at home. I have a disabled younger brother and two younger sisters that I'm helping to take care of. So
So
trying to
your
work,
why is
yeah,
really important. That's a beautiful
yeah,
thing. Your
yes,
why is
yes,
very motivated then.
yes,
Thank you so much
definitely.
for sharing with us. Oh my God, you're amazing.
Mhm.
Then,
No, thank you.
then, then also the thing that comes to my mind with that, pardon, is that depending on what are you caretaking for your family? Like for instance,
Yes.
I just have been on a breast cancer journey last year, and oh
Mm,
my God, there's so much stuff. I mean,
mhm,
like it's a kind of sad bonus,
indeed.
but
Yes.
like there's a lot of stuff, and there's stuff available for people who take care of people with
Mm,
things as well. So you
indeed.
can, that's another angle
Yes.
of
Especially for
how
me
you help somebody.
because trying to actually get out to do work is very, very hard when I have to be here 24/7 looking over my younger brother. He has a very
Oh,
what's it called? A muscle dystrophy. So
Oh,
trying to actually do stuff on
well,
his
there
own
you
is very,
go.
very hard.
But that's an interesting angle. Like we want to like if we can bullet point, like if whatever everyone else is sharing, bullet point. What is it? Bullet point, bullet point, bullet
Yeah.
point. That then because everyone has amazing stories and wonderful
let's
things.
move on to Cassandra then. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off, Tish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
go ahead.
problem.
Thank you for
That's
Don.
For
great.
letting me
That's
share.
great. We're done. But I just want to see those like where we can go like, ooh, that's something, and this is how we can fund it. Yeah. Oh, here's an idea. Yeah.
Hey
Go ahead.
everyone, my name is Cassandra. I'll try to make it quick. A few short things about me. I'm also in the South, originally North Carolina, moved to South Carolina because of my job, my husband's job. I am on the autistic ADHD spectrum myself. I have 3 kids that I homeschool right now due to the schools not wanting to honor Section 504 plans. I used to work in EMS before I had kids. Husband plays with trees and forestry. I'm a huge game nerd and book nerd. You will see me get all giddy about the voices. In fact, when I had my first 3, with each kid, I ended up with what was called postpartum depression. Games and stuff is what kept me going through that. So I'd love to be able to voice stuff that helped me go through some of the toughest times and kept me going. I'd love to do the same thing. For me right now, I'm a beginning VO, but I'm at a stuck point. Some of the things for funding for me is because I am taking care of 3 kids. My husband is state employee and all that, federal government right now, we're all on edge.
Right.
Trying to get funding for further education so I can get demo ready because I've been doing some training, but I'm just at that point of if I don't find jobs, I can't make money. But at the same time, if I can't get my demo, I can't get jobs that pay decently. Um, and the other thing I want to do long term is with the grants for me is eventually once I get to that position where I am finally trained and working actively, I want to help fund another grant for someone like me that's a mom that's restarting a career differently. That it's like, hey, I don't see
Awesome.
people like me in the field. So
That's right.
hopefully that helps.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, so much good stuff there. Donna Jo, just as someone like I love talking to people because it's always like, ooh, the ingredients. But in what's your what's your like off the cuff or your gut response to, oh, this would be things that you could find funding.
Well, I mean, first of all, just honey, that voice of yours. Woo, I
Thank
mean,
you.
I mean, for me, so castable, right?
Really?
So
Really? That's one fear of mine.
yeah, well,
Mhm.
getting you the training and then all of the things you need, like for me, that whole, work from home mom, woman who is, woman who is looking to increase their training, that's really like you're looking for an educational angle because you're looking to do more training and education on for yourself. So I feel like not only that, but educational grants. And then what part of North Carolina are you in, if I may ask?
I was in North Carolina. We moved to South Carolina near Columbia.
You're near Columbia. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're in Columbia, South Carolina. I would totally take a look at like the local women's league there. Any other educational, like I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. I don't grant write in South Carolina, but if I were grant writing in South Carolina, I would absolutely look at what are the local, regional, and county things, because especially in the South, there is a lot of local helping hand kind of, it's just culturally kind of the way the South works in my experience. So I would look in for local and regional funders, and I would absolutely look for female centric. And even there can be, as crazy as this sounds, there can be like the local country club will do something to support anyone that supports and gives back to the community. You're their community, so why not you? Even if they aren't specifically like funding the niche of like homeschooling moms, but they're going to fund their community, and you're in the community. So we think in terms of like it's almost like a train track of like, one is who I am, and then one is just what's happening in my area. So they may not fund me because I'm a female entrepreneur, that has a bent for social justice. They may not fund me for that reason, but they may fund me because I am in the county and they need to give out educational dollars.
Okay.
So that may be
Thank you.
the train track that I'm riding on.
Thank you.
Sound good? So let's move
Yes,
on to
ma'am.
Michael
Thank
real
you.
quick.
Yeah.
Hello, and thank you
Hi.
so much. Yeah, it is, this is great. This is
Oh, you
great.
sound like a radio friend immediately to me.
I've been in radio off and on for 25 years.
Yeah, you have. Well,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about who you are and what makes you so darn special, Micah.
Oh, I'm a mountain misfit, fifth generation from Colorado, Golden, Central City area there. Spent my life backpacking, fly fishing, skiing, snowboarding. Got into caving in college, became one of the first wild tour guides for Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park. Did all their voiceovers. I was the voice for the PA system. Became a little bit of a mini celebrity in the Aspen Vale, Glenwood area there. Raised
Come
my
on, mini
son.
celebrity.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit neurodivergent, misdiagnosed my entire life with things like ADHD, bipolar disorders, some kind of attention stuff. Turned out I had focal seizures my entire life,
Wow.
fully broke through in 2019. And I couldn't live alone anymore. I couldn't work, I couldn't drive, had to move from the western slope from the mountains back to the Front Range and stay with family and rebuild. Lost a lot.
Yeah.
But the Epilepsy Foundation, um, I got a brain implant, found out where the source of the seizures were. I never gave up. I pushed through. In 2020, I realized that I have this professional home studio that's just gathering dust and I need to vent. So I started a podcast called Seizure Salad, Fustercluck Epilepticus. And it's actually helped quite a bit of people. It's gained a following. I've got something like 15,000 downloads right now. Really niche podcast, but it's very targeted and very, it helps others. It helps me. And
That's phenomenal. Well, what do you want to fund now?
I want to get that into a kind of either a not-for-profit status or make it a moneymaker so that I can help people build up a fund to be able to help people with travel costs that are coming from like the small towns in Wyoming or Nebraska to Denver to UC Health Anschutz to be able to get treatment. I want to be able to support people, let people call in, I have specialists, like with the Epilepsy Foundation, genetic specialists come in and interview hypnotherapists, Reiki specialists, things like that.
Wonderful. Yeah, I would love to talk to you offline about that, because a nonprofit, like starting a nonprofit, could be an absolute like endeavor for you. That's an amazing story.
Right.
And I don't know if you could, my dog is here in my office in his little crate, and we just found out that we thought he was epileptic, but he's having an MRI next week. It looks like it's a brain tumor potentially, or something else.
Oh no.
But thank you for sharing your story. That's just, and thank you, Kelsey, for dropping that podcast in the link. I'm going to check that out. That's amazing. And Seizure Salad, what a great title for a podcast. You are just, I mean, that's gold. I love it. I can't wait to hear your
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you.
Who's next after Micah? I've lost the thread. Whoever's next in the order, please pop in. Evan, great, Evan. Hi. All right, we've got 7 minutes left. Let's knock this
Okay,
out. I want to
cool.
get to everybody.
Hi. I'm Evan Greiner from Rocky Hill, New Jersey. I initially was not interested at all in like the world of VO. I studied to go into dir directing and prop managing for theater.
Okay.
Then a year after I graduated from college, my dad was blocked from finding jobs from his old employer as like a long story short, for like a very petty reason. And so
Okay.
I stopped doing what I was doing, and I got a more stable job at like a grocery store until he was able to get on his feet. And then COVID happened, and I ended up developing PTSD from working in those conditions. Um, and this is a very long-winded way of saying that I ended up being hospitalized for suicidal depression twice. And when I was there, one of the things I did was during the downtime, because there really wasn't anything to do, I would just take the books that my family had sent me, and I would like read them out loud for the other inpatients, and a lot of them told me that it was a major, like a highlight or bright spot for their day. So
That's so beautiful. Wow. That's one of the coolest stories of how I came to voiceover that I think I've ever heard. That's really, really cool. What do you want to fund, Evan? Blue Sky versions.
right now, so I have like two separate things.
What's the first one?
The short term is I need I need to get funding uh for VO training,
Okay,
just for like just so that I can get the experience so that I can actually like
sure.
professionally. And
And
then
what's the second thing?
long term was I've actually started thinking about like maybe like creating a program that would give access to like, you know, audiobooks and other stuff of that nature for like uh mental health inpatients for like at places like Princeton House, stuff like
That's
that.
amazing.
There's literally almost nothing to do there outside of like doing exercises or like maybe watch
Right.
TV. So, and like because the last time I was there for like a week and it felt like a year.
Of course.
This is really cool. I love that we're hearing people's um journeys, and then what the bigger thing is, there's your voiceover career, and then what your bigger thing is. I think that's so important as we are focused on creating our voiceover careers. And then what will we do? You know, our mission here at the dojo is aligning people with the power and possibility of their voice. And I love that this discussion is going beyond, is having us, okay, so this is how we can fund this. And then what does our voiceover career fund? And in exploring what is up with ourselves, or what are we bringing to the party? Why are we doing things? Having that bigger why is so incredibly powerful.
That's that impact that we talked about earlier. Like, what's the impact you want to have? I mean, yeah, I want a slam and home studio and a baller career. Who doesn't? But, you know, I want to be able to like break barriers for underserved youth in my area, right? So you want to be able to like provide, you know, services for people who are an inpatient. That's genius. And first of all, just Evan, congratulations on being here today and being a survivor and getting through that dark time, because PTSD is real. And, you know, having suicidal ideations, like being able to be resilient and find ways for us to live and ways for us to help one another. What an inspiring success story you are. I want to work with you. I want to,
Well,
this is
I
amazing.
would
All
actually
right.
like to stay in touch with you.
Yes, well, we're
You seem like
saying
a
thank
great
you for
person.
now. And gosh, that's amazing. All right, let's do
I'm
Maria and-
I thankfully don't have the PTSD anymore, so very
Good,
happy.
good. Well, yeah, it's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so authentically and bravely with all of us about the real life situation you went through, and moreover, just seeing where it can lead. Like, wow, I've got goosebumps. Like, that's amazing.
Very nice.
Let's check in with Maria and then David real quick, and we'll see where we're at. I know there's a few people still with hands raised. Maria.
We do to make sure that we have time for questions. So if we can keep it tight, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it tight.
I'm gonna do mine like an outline so that way I can just go down. My name is Maria Amelia Park. I am a British and American dual citizen, so I have passports in both countries. I'm also a mixed race. I am Indigenous, Nigerian, Bangladesh, and Scottish. Um, I also was a caretaker to my mother, my previous spouse, and to my father, all passed from terminal cancer. And I am a caretaker to my brother now, who has autism and other intellectual disabilities, which has been very challenging for the past 3 years. But I love him, so he's mine. I'm a comic book nerd. I'm married to a transgendered male in Trump America, so my life is always in danger. So,
And we celebrate your love. We
yeah.
celebrate your love.
I appreciate it. I've been in the voiceover realm for 23 plus years. I did take a break to be a caretaker, so I'm coming back to VO. I did in 2021, but I started at ADV in 2002 and then Funimation in 2004 and then moved on from there. And I am a working voice actor now. Long story short, I would love to do funding for what's happening in my life right now. I am chronically ill. I'm considered disabled. I have a dilated pulmonary artery, so I'm always on watch for things like pulmonary hypertension, which is scary. But on top of that, I can't even get upset about my health and worry about my health because I'm always worried about what's going on with my family, because we represent everything that's being kind of attacked.
So in a nutshell, what do you want to fund?
I want to do a documentary on what it's like to be a family like mine, you know, or have families that are dealing with LGBT issues, POC issues, being a woman during, I'll just say it, Trump's America. That is what I want. It is a big historical moment for us. This is probably the scariest I've ever felt in my life. And I'm 48 years old, so it's just a lot.
Copy that.
So yeah, that's my passion project. That's
well, documentary filmmaking and independent films get funded, and they get funded all the time.
Yeah, so, I do have a film degree, so that does help. I just haven't been able to do anything with it because I was a caretaker for so long. You can't really go on film crews and things like that. So yeah.
And Maria is a testament to getting yourself out there. Maria is the third recipient of our full scholarship, the Daniel Escobar scholarship that we give away once a year. So Maria is here because of that. And that also reminds me of first rule of the dojo: know what you want, ask for it, people will give it to you if you allow. So I love how everyone's going like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I do have something to do. How can I make it happen? how can you help? Yeah, it's really good, really good.
Yeah, I love
And
Tish
we,
so much. I'll always sing her praises.
Maria, just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And I want to talk to you too offline because documentary filmmaking, like, and you already have a degree in film. That's a no-brainer. Tish, is it all right if we hop to David for a quick and then we'll,
I think so. How are we doing question wise, Kels? Do you think if we do one more,
Yeah, there's only like 3 questions. I think we're okay.
good, because I would personally want to get to everyone who has their hand raised, personally.
okay, well, that's good. And if you do have questions, put them in the chat so we can
So-
answer. But yeah, let's roll with
Let's
this
go to
and see how we
David and
do.
then we'll see if we can get to Rob and Kevin. David,
Hey,
you're
hey,
up.
how's it going? Nice. Thanks for putting this on. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you, brother.
I'm gonna try to make this quick. Those of you that know me, that is saying something. So, uh, I'm about me. I will start there. So about me, where'd my notes go? I took notes. I did notes for this very reason, and then I started taking other notes, and now they're not here.
That's all
Here we
right.
go.
Take your time and find them.
So, yeah, so what makes me me, a little bit about me, like humor, kindness, willing to help, positive, perfectionist, which can go on both ways. And I have rhythm and dance because I am from the dirty South, Florida, as we mentioned in the chat. I started my road to journey, like I have kind of a little bit of an interesting story, but I wound up getting into VO after I almost lost my leg in a major freak accident and almost had it cut off. And during recovery, I decided I wanted to not just go find some other job. I wanted to do something I really wanted to do, and that started my journey to voiceover. Wound up falling into, I know we're friends, but I fell into the GVAA kind of and created this thing called the Rate Guide, and now I'm here. I run the Global Voice Acting Academy as well. I'm the COO, and I help people. So basically, creating the Rate Guide, it's the non-union industry standard for voiceover, and so I coach the industry on rates and negotiation, and I teach an nth degree with VO Dojo twice a year so far.
Very cool.
It may continue if I'm good, if I'm
What
on
do
good
you want to
behavior.
fund now?
So what I want to fund is I'm a traveler. I'm going to be moving to Colombia in a few months, and just kind of I'm going to be like that nomadic traveler, traveling around, maybe doing some voiceover while I go. I really would want to fund. Basically, my story is I've dedicated myself to the voiceover industry as someone who's been an industry leader with our school. There's a lot that we've done, and I haven't put the focus on my voiceover business. And so, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Toback, he's super pro." Nah, bro. There's people in this room that definitely book more than I do. So I've put a lot of focus on other people, and I tend to do that. I focus on other people, and I give, and then I don't leave anything for me. So this
I don't know
year,
what you're talking about. I resemble that remark. I don't know what you mean.
yeah. So I'm trying to find my way, financially as well, because even though I don't get paid like a COO, and pulling back, like the way
Yes.
we should be a nonprofit organization. So I almost kind of want to see, like, I'm interested in that from the GVA side. If we're able to
Sure.
get grants that help us keep providing the education and stuff that we do. I know I'm on the NAVA board, the National Association of Voice Actors,
Yeah.
and they get grants because they're a nonprofit, or we get grants because we're a nonprofit. So that's an area, because we continue to do good work, but we do it for the benefit of the community, but we can't be a nonprofit. So there's
Got it.
a little bit there, but for me,
So
it's
you've
like
got it.
I'm
You've got
pulling
it.
back. Like I'm going to wind up pulling back and not, like, I get paid per hour, and it's just going to be like I need to devote, like, hey, I just can't work. Like I know I have to do everything, but too bad. Like, because I've sacrificed, a lot of time for voiceover, and voiceover hasn't developed into the thing that will build, my
Copy that.
career. So that's where I'm trying to do it. And I just thought, like, oh, I'm like, man, I wish GoFundMe was cool when, like, my knee was blown apart. I could have got a lot of money, like those things, like those feel cringy. But like grants, like, oh, I never thought about trying to get money to then do this, move. And I don't necessarily have like a great inspirational thing for why someone would want to fund me. But I
That's
think,
okay.
continuing the work that I do, being able to continue, because one of the things, just to be honest, and I know this stays in the VO Dojo, like it's either like I should have gotten another job a long time ago. Like it just from a financial perspective and what you would do, like everyone in this room would be like, you should get a full-time job to supplement or stuff like that. So I've taken a different path where I've said, hey, I know I'm not going to make money, but I love doing this work. And I need to kind of flip the script where I put more focus on me instead of everybody
There
else.
you go. And I would also invite you not to speak over yourself because I know I'm not going to make money. Like, let's take that out of
Oh, no, I mean within the school. Like I know like what the
understand.
budgets are and the boundaries. Like there, I'm not
Right,
going to
right.
make.
There may not be the budgets, right? There may not be
Right.
the budgets in there to
Yeah.
pay you, but what you may discover is that the work you're doing, if you were doing
Yeah.
it under the shelter of a nonprofit, or if you partner with nonprofits as a pass-through, you're sitting on a gold mine. So
Yeah.
this is something
Okay.
that we don't often recognize.
Okay.
Tish, how are you
Cool.
feeling?
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Well, let's see. I would like to end at 12. So, but why don't we go?
Can we talk to Rob and Kevin quickly, and then we'll.
Yeah, just like super quick, like 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah.
Rob,
Asking the impossible.
tell us everything, brother.
Shockingly, I'm a professional Santa Claus. You would never guess that, would you? I
want a pony. I'm here to say it now.
I was in radio for 38 years.
Yeah, you were.
40 years. And I got tired of the establishment and the corporateness of it, and it just was ruining what radio should be. And I was a production director most of that time. I decided to quit and do voiceover full time. A lot of my experience, I've done voices for toys for Hasbro and video games for Acclaim. I've done TV and radio commercials, e-learning, corporate presentations. But my style is not current, and I would love to get funding for more coaching and getting my demos updated. And
there you go.
And I'm a senior. I just turned 60. I
It
do.
looks good on you. You wear it well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have supple skin. I have ADD, and I'm looking into getting treatment like that. I think it's held me back because I just have so much going on in my brain at one time that it's hard to focus. And before my time is up, I just wanted to say, Evan and Micah, you guys are inspirational, and it's wonderful to hear your stories, and everybody else as well. And I wanted to thank Tish and Donna Jo for putting this on, and really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome. And what a love, what a cool community. Again, like, I don't know who let all the good looking, interesting people in, but I'm glad they did.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I really appreciate it. I love kids. I've got 6 of my own and 11 grandkids and 1 great-grandkid.
Wow, you've got a whole Santa's workshop there. I love it, Rob. Thank you so much.
Bet.
Okay, can we hear from Kevin quickly, Tish, and then we'll have 15 minutes or so for some.
No, Kevin, we'd love to hear just a quick minute of what makes you special, and what you would want to have funding for.
Kevin, can you come off mute and share with us?
Yes. Hey, Donna. I have been, first of all, my name is Kevin Ali, and I've been having a great time with my family and friends. So I like doing voice acting, and it's my favorite thing to do. I like to voice characters in animations and so on. For television series and films.
Awesome. What do you want to, what would you like to fund? Or if you have something, do you have a specific project or a goal or something you want to fund for?
I want to fund for doing voice acting and getting an agent so I can be in screen for voice acting the characters.
Awesome.
So funding your voiceover education and continuing, right?
Yeah, that's what I like to do best.
Yeah, and Kevin, you're on the spectrum, right? You are autistic, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be like something that makes you very special of, doing this work with that neurodivergent mind that you have. And that could be a great angle to see what support there is within your community, within the support that you already get. How can you get more resources to focus in on the things that you want to keep on training for?
And Kevin, may I ask you where do you live? What state do you live in?
I actually don't live in any states. I actually live in I live in the United Kingdom, UK.
You live in the UK. Okay, I just want to say this to you. I think why do I feel like I knew that or saw that? But at any rate, there is an autism awareness grant website. There is so much funding for not only people who are on the spectrum, but for research and for projects around autism. The funding is actually really impressive. So I would just really encourage you. It's very encouraging to have you with us. And I love that I love that you have an avatar of yourself on the screen. It's great. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I'll say this, there is a lot of support for autism grants and for projects and whatnot. So again, it's like we're all sitting on gold mines, but specifically if you're on the spectrum or neurodivergent, there is a lot of funding for us. So that's
I think you've come up with a title for your workshop, darling. It's called Sitting on a Gold Mine. That's really good. Yeah.
No, it's really true because everything that makes every one of us so unique. And I'm also thinking about what Maria shared, like this is why it's so important that our voices are elevated. And if you are someone, I just want to say if you have been historically left out of the conversation, or if you feel that, part of who you are now or who you're becoming now isn't, either accepted in the mainstream or championed or what have you, please take heart, because your voice needs to be elevated. Our stories need to be told. I mean, I think about the kinds of individuals that both Evan, Micah, gosh, all of us, but Maria, like the kind of individuals that can be impacted and helped. And really it's one person saving another person at the end of the day. It is that wheel where we got one hand reaching down and one reaching up. And, I feel we're all here to elevate one another. And there's room for all of us at the table. And there's especially room for all of us at the table of grant writing and raising funds. So
that's a great way to end the meat of this and go to the questions. Wow,
yeah, let's go to some questions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Hello.
Kevin.
Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
Ramel, hello.
Yes, hi. I don't have a question, but I do want to say that I want to grant, if I do the any type of grant, it would be for a studio to just restart my career in VO.
Great.
And I'm a writer. I did my first screenplay, so actually funding a documentary would also be great for me. So, and it was great hearing everyone's story. And I want to say to Micah, America is our America. It's not, anyone else's America but ours. So just wanted to say that. So thank you all.
What state or what city or state are you in, Ramel?
California.
Oh, come on now. Are you here in LA or
Los Angeles? Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
I'm in Echo Park. We got to get connected.
Yes, I'm here. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I've done several VO auditions, and I just really want to get my voice and everything voice ready this time, because I noticed that when I have done auditions, you can hear my lisp, and it's just been like, it's horrible, but yes, I just want to do more. So thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I think we're talking this week, right, Ramel?
I'm sorry.
I think we're talking this week, so that'll be great to hear more about where you're at. So,
Okay. All right. Is that with the workshop or?
I saw you on my
Oh,
calendar.
yes, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, can't wait. Thank you.
It's for those of you that aren't on Tish's calendar, or if this is your first time in, get on her calendar. So wonderful.
Let's get to the questions. We've got
Yes.
about 13 minutes, so I want to make
Okay.
sure it's not too squished. Kelsey, who do we have questions from?
Okay, so we have questions from a couple of people who had to take off a little bit early. Stephen Coletti asks, what is a piece of advice you'd see yourself giving others that most wouldn't normally think about when approaching this topic? Like, what is absolutely something to keep in mind that could be missed or forgotten?
Well, okay, I'll say this. One thing that can be missed or forgotten, we can get excited when we see an opportunity. And I can think to myself, oh, wow, here's $100,000 grant for an emerging artist who's doing a project. I want that. That's what I want. And I may bite off a little more than I can chew. You know, we've all been in those situations where like you try on some crazy coat at the thrift store and you're like, I can't live without this. I have to have this thing. It's fabulous. And then you get it and it's way different than you thought it was going to be, or you know, it's whatever the case. So I think a piece of advice I would offer is, you know, to really kind of soberly weigh the pros and cons. Like every time we apply for something, it is throwing spaghetti on the wall, but be careful what you ask for, right? Or Santa just might deliver it. So I might get that pony that I asked for. Guess what? I live in a Spanish bungalow with a small front yard. I don't have room for a pony, right? So all grants are a little sexy and shiny, but that doesn't necessarily mean we want them all or we should get them all. And just know when we apply for something and we get it, we could turn it down if we then later realize, you know what, I'm out over my skis with this. This is too much money. It's too much reporting. It's too much responsibility. I'm not ready for this. Now, chances are they're not going, you know, if you're writing a proposal good enough to score 100,000, then you are ready for it. But I guess my advice would be to really weigh, you know, because we can't be in two places at once. For those world travelers, like we can't go to Thailand and London on the same day. We can go to one or the other. We can have anything we want, but we can't have everything. So I would just say to be very responsible, and I mean, I keep using the word sober, but like just have a very clean conscience about what you're applying for, because every grant you apply for, there's a chance you'll get it. So I would just say really deeply consider, do I have the capacity right now to do what I think I want to do, which is build out this studio and fund this documentary? Well, if all the funding comes through, do you have the infrastructure, or do you at least have the version of who you need to hire in order to make it happen to support you while you're doing this? So that would be, I guess, my piece of advice would just be to get really clear. And also I would say this, start small. Let's put one foot in front of the other. Let's walk, you know, before we run, before we fly.
Right.
So that would be my advice.
Kelsey just shared that she got a $500 grant, right? You just applied
Yes,
for
I
something.
did. I did.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just on the application, they just asked me why I wanted it, and I was just honest with them. And also I took your advice in advance and was just like, this is what I want to do with voiceover. This is why I want it and how I want to give back. So
wonderful. What other questions do we have?
Okay, Galena White, are you still here? I do not believe so. Galena asks, can funds be used? This is a great question. Can funds be used to pay off business credit costs from the past, meaning expenditure prior to the funding request?
I understand. That's another word for debt. And most grants do not allow for the repayment of grant, the purchasing of property. You know, so if I want to rent a studio to do my work in, I might be able to pay for session time, but I'm not going to be able to buy the studio and therefore now I own property with that money. Most don't. So, however, if you get a sponsorship with a local group, or if there's a corporation that gives you perhaps 100, however much they give, whatever, fill in the gap, whatever the number is, not every grant has those same stipulations. So the thing to do when you apply is look over, what do they fund? They'll tell you very clearly what this funding is to do, and they will also share with you what this funding is not to do. You might be able to pay for rental time, but you can't pay for food for your crew. Or you know, this will pay for the purchasing of a camera for the documentary film, but it won't pay for any salaries for the filmmakers that you're hiring, or for your own salary if you're the filmmaker shooting it, right? So there may be money out there that they, you know, especially if they give you unrestricted money. I'm just giving you $10,000, do with it what you want. I don't care what you do with it. You're an artist, you need money, here you go. And just write me a letter later telling me how you did spend it. There is money that's unrestricted, that doesn't have any earmarks, that doesn't, you know, but that's very few and far between that I have seen, for what that's worth.
Yeah. That's a good question.
It's a great question. And know this, whenever they put out the call for the grant, they will always tell you who's paying for it, how much they're paying. They'll give you all the particulars, what the deadline is for the grant, when you can expect the funds. They often don't say whether they're sending you a check or, you know, or after you get the money, they will then say, you know, we need your bank routing number, or we're mailing you a physical check, or doing a wire transfer, or whatever. But yeah, so.
All
Good.
right.
We got a few more minutes. What are the questions, Kelsey?
My friend Jamie, come on up, Jamie.
Hi, what's your question, Jamie?
Oh goodness, I thought Kelsey was just going to read my question. All right. So a question that I have is, I have been scammed by grants and fundraisers in the past before. And so as somebody who is now in my new journey as a voiceover artist, what are those red flags to look for to like see legitimate grants and funding?
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand what you said. Did you say you've been scammed before, or scammed?
I was scammed in the past for, yes,
Okay.
I was.
For around a funding opportunity.
For a funding opportunity, yes.
Got it. Well, this is what I'll tell you. Any legitimate funder will have a legitimate website. They will have, you know, they will have a legitimate history of who they funded before. So I don't know, you know, what entities that was, but I've not encountered, I've encountered like fiduciary scams, but I've never encountered a grant writing scam in my experience. I would say, you know, if you're worried about it, and if you're concerned about it, which everyone, we should be concerned, and take great care, I would vet every opportunity that you're looking for, or every opportunity that comes across your desk. And there is one of those, if it's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. You know, if you get something in the mail that's like, you know, we've all probably seen those pieces of mail that are like, you know, retire all your debt, do one simple consolidation, or, you know, whatever. I mean, you know, scammy things often do look scammy, but sometimes all of us can get snookered by something that, you know, preys upon, you know, our vulnerabilities of what we need and what we're looking for. And, you know, here's this opportunity and it sounds good. I would just say really vet it. And then also, you know, check it out. Like, where are they, you know, do they have a legitimate listing? Are they registered, you know, with, you know, you know, your state nonprofit board, or are they registered on a national scale? Do your research, do a little bit of research. Do you mind to share with us how, just one detail of how you got scammed with something on a grant? I've never heard of that before.
So it was back in North Carolina, because that's where I'm from.
Okay.
And that's when I started my voiceover journey, and it was a scammer masquerading as a nonprofit. And as somebody who was, you know, a social worker, I thought, you know, I knew pretty much everything there was to know about legitimate grants and funding and everything. And once I got through the process, and, you know, they told me, you know, you've been awarded with this amount of money, please send us this information. And the one thing I missed, which is, shame on me, was I didn't check if they were a registered, legitimate nonprofit. Because I always believe that they're, everybody's honest and everybody's good. That's a blessing and a curse. And
Sure.
so instead of being awarded the money that I was told I was going to get, they took that amount of money from my bank account. So that's kind of like
I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's terrible.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
like
really
you said,
looking at being better.
doing your
in the future.
research, doing your
Yes.
research is key.
Yes.
It's key.
Yeah. Wow.
Donna, I posted in the chat. There's an organization called GuideStar.
Oh, yes.
And you can use GuideStar to look up nonprofits to make sure that they're legitimate. And if they don't give you tax forms, they're lying because
every nonprofit is required to post their 990, which is the tax form you file as a nonprofit, and you can see how legitimate an organization is, and you can see, what do they have in reserve? What's their annual budget? If someone only has 10K in the bank and they're promising you $1 million grant, it's a little fishy, right? But they're probably not going to be listed on GuideStar if they're legit. Does that answer your concern, Jamie? Or
Oh, yes, 100%. I would love to chat with you more offline about stuff later.
Let's do it. Well, please, Tiny Smile Creative at Gmail or Tiny Smile Creative on Instagram. You can DM me there. I would so love to stay in touch. And at one point before we wrap, I thought I saw Gordon's iPad. Did you have a question or no? Or was it just you were just getting on? Uh-oh, I can't hear you, Gordon. You're muted, friend. Okay, well, you might have to put it in the chat, Gordon, because you are perpetually muted. I don't like that. But or you can email me, Gordon, if you have a question. Sorry, again, I'm not trying to put you on blast, but I thought I saw your hand up earlier. And I know we're almost at time, so.
All the written questions, Kelsey?
No, we have Rob.
Okay, let's do really fast. We'll wrap up after this question. And if you have more questions for Donna Jo or for for Donna Jo or for me.
I think I unmuted. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's
Very
finish
good.
Gordon's question then.
We will do. No, my question just was like, my thing was, I texted you, Tish, like, yes, I'm like lost my vision, like really seriously. Every time I go out into the environment, everybody tells me and they know my voice. So it's just, this has been really wonderful, this whole experience with you guys today, both Donna Jo and Tish. It's crazy. It's beautiful. For nonprofit and nothing, no money making off of it, but it's been a plethora of information for me, and yeah, it's great. I just want to thank you both.
I want to thank you for just speaking. Your voice is butter.
Yeah, whatever.
If I had a loaf of sourdough toast, you'd be in trouble because I spread it all over.
Here's what my funding would be. I will tell you, Donna Jo.
Tell it.
Here it is. I would get funding to get the funding to pay Tish to teach me voiceover and how to. And I've been to her home, I've been to her studio, I've done all of that. But that's what I would get funding for. I would love to get funding so that Tish could be my personal teacher, especially now that I've been blind. I've lost my vision. So yes, it's awesome, you guys.
Well, what a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you so much. For everyone who's taking off, much love.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. Donna Jo, thank you for sharing all your goodness, your wisdom, your experience. And it's just, I hope everyone can feel it's just the tip of the iceberg for all of us. Like that, I hope everyone comes away from this call going, oh, wow, that's so possible. How do we do it? And then understand. I think the other thing that Donna Jo's, said at the beginning, there is no free lunch, so it's not like, hey, just something might be that, but there's a reason that there are professional grant writers, and that there are people like Donna Jo who make a living, not to make a living of do make a living of this, but it is an art form unto itself, and it is a process unto itself. So it's just another part of our voiceover career that we can go, ooh, how do I spend time developing this and exploring what's possible, and then how does it all work? And this is a beautiful way to end, and it's all storytelling. It's all using, storytelling is a form of using our voice, right? Of articulating our voice in our stories. So it's really cool how full circle and all encompassing this is. And um just to raise of hands, anyone feel lighter after this? I'm like, oh, that's so much better. Um, so yeah, I hope we go forth with this, let it ripple forward. Talk to Donna Jo. There's more, there's more, there's more, there's more. Get on my calendar. We are always here for you doing things like this. And mindset into action, heart set into structured action together is
I
what
love seeing what I just saw Heather say in the chat of just feeling inspired and more capable. Let me say, and like just as Tish said, it's story time, it's storytelling, and there are so many rich and unique stories here, and so many ways we can impact one another, the world, just ourselves. Like it's all on the table. So it's just
awesome.
been so lovely.
So good. If you want to, we'd love to hear your Dojo O, like what you're taking with you. So before you sign off, just type in as you're going what your Dojo O is today, and we'll wrap up.
Yes, Tish, also, our next round of You Should Do Voiceover Launchpad and workouts is coming up on the 14th, I believe.
March
The 17th. March 17th.
Yeah.
That's our workout, our Launchpad and workouts. Basically, it's a Launchpad. It's a super intriguing, like in-depth course on VO and like different parts of VO. Like I have already been doing VO and I took it and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I didn't even know was out there by taking that course. We are almost sold out for March. So sign up as quick as you can. February sold, January sold. So we would love to have you guys. I love hearing all of your stories, and it's just so I feel so inspired. I feel so happy after this. So
I love what Ayana put in the chat, curious and motivated.
Yeah.
Being curious is key because there's so much money out there to be tapped.
Yeah. Good. All right, my friends, we do this the third Wednesday of every month. Get to know VO. You can put it, it's free, and we're here for you. So put it on your calendar, and we are excited to be here for you and with you. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye. Thanks, Donna Jo. Thanks, Kelsey.